Good evening and welcome to the Thornapple Kellogg Board of Education regular meeting. Today is Monday, October 14th, 2024, and we're at the Early Childhood Center. And with that, call to order. Brenda, would you do the roll call, please?
Yes. Brock?
Here.
Wenger?
Here.
Smith?
Here.
Dickman?
Here.
Hess here. Huson?
Here.
And Powers.
Here. Thank you. All right. Adoption of the agenda. If you're satisfied with the agenda as it is, we will look for a motion to approve it. If you would like to make an adjustment, now is your time.
I think you jumped.
Oh, did I? Oh, all right. Thank you. That's why you need to sit closer to me. Yeah. All right. My apologies. Item number 2 is Pledge of Allegiance. It's found in the back of the room. All right. We'll go on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you, board, for helping me out.
Yeah.
All right, and now we're up to adoption of the agenda. So again, if you want to make an adjustment, now is your time, or if you want to proceed as we planned, we will look for a motion.
I'll make the motion that we adopt the agenda as presented. Support.
Okay, I got a motion by Smith and support by Dickman. Is there any discussion? Seeing there's no discussion, we'll take a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, board. Motion carries. All right, we have some recognition for Coach Doc.
Yes, we do. We have Catherine Getty and Frank Fiala here today from Berry County Household Hazardous Waste. They want to present Coach Doc and some of the football players with something special. So we've got a podium over here with a microphone.
Oh boy. You might regret that.
Yeah, the reason for the microphone is so that whoever's watching online can hear us.
Thank you. I'm Frank Fiala from the Road Commission, and I chair the Solid Waste Oversight Committee. Catherine Getty, our county commissioner, also serves on that. And we're here to thank the football team for helping us with our very successful event. We get large, gigantic amounts of tires, 3 semi-loads at each in the spring and the fall. And that's been going on for quite a few years. And our biggest challenge has been that and the recycling of the electronics, the great big TVs that us older people have difficulty handling. And so we've kind of reached out to Jeff and his team, and they have just been extremely helpful with just all kinds of power in helping us with that. I think 3 semi-loads, about 3,000 tire recoolants at the very last event. Catherine?
All right, when he says 3 semi-loads full of tires, it's like a game of Tetris. So those tires are fit in there very precisely so that we can get as many packed in there as possible. And I think these guys know what I'm talking about because we're trying to take advantage of every inch that's in that trailer. So why don't you guys come on up? So I know this is just a fraction of the players that were there to help out. And to put it into context, too, this was an early Saturday morning after a football game. And I'm sure you weren't feeling great that morning, to hear the alarm go off. And we really appreciate you coming and helping and the spirit of service in which you did it. And we're really happy to, I'll give this to Coach Doc, to present him with a check for $2,000. That's for 2 collections that we did in 2023. We have another check coming, but it really, this would not be possible without you guys helping us out, because Frank and I can't carry that many tires. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Coach, anything you want to say about your players?
Oops, sorry. I mean, I would echo that. I mean, coming up at, after a game on a Saturday morning to come up and serve the community and throw tires into semis, that's physical. We find ways to have fun with it. And what a cool event for the community. I mean, to be able to remove tires from fields and the side of the roads, and not only the electronics, but the medicine and the chemicals and all of those things. An awesome event, and we're grateful for the opportunity to serve and give back. So, and these guys were awesome. So, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you all very much. All right. Let's see. Yeah. Yes, my computer is a little wonky, sorry. I'll blame it on the computer this time. Okay, it is public input. Members of the public may address the Board of Education during public comment for up to 3 minutes. Speakers will be recognized by the presiding officer and asked to state their name, address, and group affiliation if applicable. As a reminder, all comments shall be directed to the board and not to staff or other participants. No participant may speak more than once. Participants may not behave in a manner that is disruptive to the orderly conduct of the meeting. The Board of Education does not respond to public comment. The superintendent will follow up with speakers when appropriate. I do not have any cards. Was anybody interested in speaking? Is anybody interested in speaking? That will be closed, okay. And moving on to consent grouping. And, oops, no. With consent grouping, any consent grouping item may be removed or for separate consideration by board member request. All consent grouping items will be adopted in one motion with a roll call vote.
A motion that we adopt the consent grouping items as presented.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Smith and support by Husen. Is there any discussion by the board?
Could I make a comment? We had 2 retirees in here, retirees.
Yep.
Pat Pullen has been here forever. That's a big loss to our districts. Congratulations. And then Mr. McCarthy has announced his retirement, so we'll be sad to see you leave.
I appreciate that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah, it's a big congratulations. We're all happy for you.
appreciate that.
Yeah. And yeah, Mr. Pullen's been a wonderful teacher. He wonderful influence on my daughters. So.
Mine as well.
All right. So we had a motion by Smith, support by Husen. Any further discussion? All right. Roll call vote, please.
Powers?
Yes.
Huson?
Yes.
Dickman?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Winger?
Yes.
Brock? Yes. Hess, yes. Motion carries.
All right. Thank you, board. Okay. That takes us down to board items for information.
Okay, our first item up is we have Gabe Sang from Manor Casterison, our auditing firm here. He's going to walk through this year's audit with us.
Good evening. My name is Gabe Sang with Manor Casterison. There should be a couple of documents in front of you. One should be the management letter. Another one should be the governance letter. And then the binder is the copy of the financial statements, and then we've summarized some of the key points of the financial statements in the slide deck that's also in front of you, which we will be walking through this evening. So if you open up that slide deck, there's some information about our firm. We serve over 200 plus Michigan governmental clients. Moving on to some of the audit results, though, some of the good stuff. On the financial statements, we issued an unmodified opinion, which is the highest level of assurance that auditors can provide. For internal controls, we noted no material weaknesses and no significant deficiencies in internal controls. For the compliance for the major programs, we tested ESSER for our single audit this year. We issued an unmodified opinion on that single audit. and there were no findings related to any of the federal awards that we tested. The management letter, we did issue a comment regarding food service excess fund balance, which has been prevalent across most of the districts within the state. Moving on to the next page, some information on the federal awards for fiscal year 2024. The combined ESSER expenditures for the current year were about $1.1 million. There was also before and after school programs and summer programs that had expenditures for the current year. Section 11T had an award amount of $2.1 million, and in fiscal year 23 and fiscal year 24, there was about $1.9 million of expenditures related to that. Some of the other prevalent federal funding was the Child Nutrition Cluster, which came in at $1.1 million for the current year, and also the Special Education Cluster, which was about $800,000. On the next page, you will see a snippet of the government-wide Statement of Net Position. Some of the key highlights on the Statement of Net Position are $45,000 that were put into construction in progress at year end related to some of the district site work. There was also $28.6 million of additions to capital assets in the current year, much of which was related to previous year's bond work on some of the remodels around the district. There was an SLRF draw of $921,000 in the current year, and the district continued to pay off its long-term obligations in the amount of $6.3 million, according to all the bond documents. The pension liability went from $75 million in the previous year to $65 million in the current year. The OPEB liability went from $4 million in the prior year and switched to an OPEB asset of $1.1 million in the current year. This is just based on the entire MIPSR's portfolio as well as the actuarial evaluations that play a part in those calculations. On to the next page, there's a snippet of the governmental funds balance sheet. So total governmental funds had assets of $23.5 million, primarily from the general fund, which had $15.6 million. There was also liabilities of $7 million, leading to a ending fund balance of $16 million across all of the district's governmental funds. On the next page, you will see a snippet of the Statement of Revenues, Expenditures, and Changes in Fund Balance. Total governmental funds had about $63 million of revenue and other financing sources, expenditures and other financing uses of $68 million, which leaves the district at an ending fund balance of $16 million. Going on to the next page, there's some breakdown for some of the general fund revenues. The majority of general fund revenues come from state aid and other state-related sources. There was also a mixture of revenue received from federal sources, local sources, and some various other smaller amounts. The general fund expense breakdown is as follows on the subsequent page, with 59% of current year expenditures being related to instruction, 38% related to support, and then 1% and 2% for community service and outgoing transfers and other. On the next page, there is a historical trend graph showing the district's total general fund balance over the last few years, with 2020 having a fund balance of $4 million in the current year, being closer to $9 million, so almost or going a little bit over double, just related to a lot of the excess federal funding related to the pandemic and also additional state funding. On the next page is key performance indicators showing the percentage of expenditures as a relation to fund balance for the general fund for some of the districts in the area. Thornapple Kellogg for 22-23 came in at 17.8%, and for the current year it is sitting at 19.36%. MSBO typically recommends 10 to 15%, but this hasn't been updated since before a lot of the COVID funding was implemented. On the next page, some of the key notes to the financial statements. Note 1 discusses some of the audit of bond expenditures that we did in accordance with Section 1351A for some of the bonded construction projects that were going on. Note 3 details the capital asset listing and identifies some of the key areas where additions and disposals were occurring. Note 5 details the outstanding bonds of the district at year end, and Note 6 details the pension and other post-employment benefits, liabilities, and assets during the year. On the next page, there is a budget comparison for the general fund showing the original budget having about $45.8 million of revenue and other financing sources coming in, with the final budget having $48.7 million, and the actual results coming in $156,000 less than the final adopted budget, primarily due to the state having a last-minute change for the 35J literacy funding, which they just halved and pushed the other half into the next fiscal year. And then expenditures came in at $47.3 million, which was a benefit of $12,000 from the final adopted budget.
Gabe, quick question.
Yes.
How many of your clients come this close to the projected, or the budget? I mean, with that variance of 0.32% and 0.03,
Yep.
that's extremely tight.
So for expenditures, I would say it's fairly common for
Yeah.
expenditures. Revenues, I think revenues were pretty on track before that last minute state funding change.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were over, it was just related to that one particular grant.
Okay,
But the expenditures is fairly common to see something like that.
okay.
Going on to the last slide, some of the future considerations to take into account. The 24-25 base state aid foundation allowance has remained the same at $9,608. Instead of a foundation allowance increase, the district will receive new Section 147 funding. And as you are aware, the COVID-19 related funding has been going away and ESSER has sunset as of September 30 of this year. Any questions?
I think this sort of mirrors what Chris gave us about a month ago. I think the audit was, the field work anyhow was wrapped up at that time, and you were just working on finalizing documents. So I think Chris's presentation last month was very similar to this. So,
Sounds great. Thank you very much.
all right, thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate your thoroughness.
Thank you.
And as always, I want to point out that it's always a team effort. You've got Barb Verhoff, the accountant, that does a lot of the detail work, Tanya Saylor in payroll, and then Laura Munjoy in accounts payable, and Chris overseeing that for the last several years. We've done a very nice job together. So,
All right, board, last chance. Do you have any questions for Gabe or anything? Okay, we'll move on to middle school presentation with Ms. Wegner and Ms. Fisher.
let me see if I can do this, Kelly, without screwing things up. Would you like the clicker? One second here, let me get this.
Good afternoon, evening, sorry about that. Thank you so much for allowing us to present about the middle school today.
What is going on? Shows it on my screen. Let's see. Wonder if I can go back into here once. Technical difficulties, just one second here. Let me try and reconnect.
Yeah.
I do not know what's going on here. 1 second, Kelly. See if I can.
No pressure.
Thanks a lot there.
Dave.
I see it there.
I know you can see it here. It's just,
We can use our imagination.
oh,
You probably need
I'm-
to see it.
I'm going to try something here once. I'm going to disconnect and reconnect.
Ooh.
That did something.
All right.
It's instructions.
Got rid of everything.
The instructions are up there.
We can go ahead if you wanted.
Yeah.
Probably a picture of the students.
Oh. Well, what's happening?
Getting closer.
All right.
Is that what his screen looks like?
No. It's
No,
got a Google slide.
definitely not.
Did you duplicate your screen or extend your screen?
You know what? You guys sound like you're more technically competent than I am. I don't know why it is not connecting to.
Said the 3 dots.
There's our IT professionals right here.
There we
Yeah.
go.
Oh, no. See. Windows
Windows
K.
K.
Windows K.
And click on it.
I.
Oh, wait. Perfect. If you go, click on that again. Go to change projection. Try duplicate, just to see
Oh,
what
see
it'll
if it'll
do.
do.
There you go.
Good job.
It only took a second. When I get a call from him later, you're in trouble.
So thank you again for allowing us to present about all things middle school today. Just like last year, we based our presentation off of the strategic plan, and it lines up directly with that, as well as number 6 on the table of contents, next steps, and celebrations that we'd like to share with you. Academics and programming would be the first section. Again, our mission statement is to encourage and develop the greatest potential in each student. And how do we do that? This year, we took a big leap and changed our schedule completely. Here's some examples of it. We have Trozone, which was power, for those of you who had students in the building before this year. Trozone is a 25-minute class, 3 days a week, that assists students with getting additional supports, very similar to the high school, but on a smaller scale. Our students don't get to select where they go. The teachers give them passes to do that. They can also work on IXL or Math Accelerator in setting goals and meeting those goals and practicing things during that Trozone time. Again, our daily schedule allows for the Trozone class to be at the same time across all grade levels. So if you are an art teacher and you need to see a kid in 6th grade, but you had a power class that was 8th grade, it may not match up, but this year they do, and it's been amazing for our kids.
It really allows us to utilize, what we've done for years with NTSS and looking at the 3 tiers. And so it gives all of our students the opportunity to use that time, but then we're really able to use that time for some extra supports within our tier 2 and our tier 3 students. Maybe it's with the exact same teacher, but they just need some more instruction. It could be utilizing our interventionist and utilizing some of our support programs like IXL and Math Accelerator. So it really lends itself to our already in place NTSS tiers.
One other thing about Trozone, we had, during our parent meetings last year, a lot of parents would say, gosh, I can't help my kids with their homework, you teach math differently. It's very frustrating at home. And this year when we had our parent meeting, the first one this year, the parents said, oh, it's such a relief, we don't have to really worry about that part because our kids can get extra supports during those show zone times as well. We also, on the schedule, gave all of our teachers common planning time with their teaching partner, which is huge. It allows our teachers to work together daily if they would like to. So for example, we have two sixth grade math teachers. Those two can work together during third hour. Every single day and bounce ideas off of each other, making sure that they're looking at data, common assessments, learning targets, lesson plans, and things like that. We also have done, with the help of Heather, working with the high school and middle school to collaborate 6-12 and K-12 work time during professional development days and PLC times for like the late start that we had earlier. We also have PLC times, 6 to 12 every other month. That means, for example, our world language department would meet every other month, no matter what, during those 1 hour PLCs, but also definitely during the professional development days. When we have PLC time, our common collaboration space, we use room 1616, the previous space of our board meetings, to have our departments work in the same space so Lindsay and I can bounce back and forth, and they can share ideas off of one another during that time. College and career readiness is another portion that we are very proud of. And these pictures right here, those is our collaboration with TCU. And they worked with our 7th grade careers classes as well as did a whole presentation for our 6th graders last year. The Price is Right. You can see the spinning wheel. The kids had to guess the prices. They had no idea what things cost at all. But it was super fun and they won prizes. We also continue to have our guest speakers in our 6th grade personal finance classes. And this year, our goal is to have a career fair in the fall for our 8th graders and to take them to Career Quest in the spring downtown at the Boss Place. And in typical middle school fashion, this is not David, but the thought was, I thought it was pretty cool. They're pretty chill about it, but they won amazing prizes, and they were amazing and loud, by the way. Again, continue with the college and career readiness and real life experiences that we want to give our kids. Like we talked about last year, they did have the opportunity to budget. The reality of a monthly budget sheet, again, our kids exceed the budget with entertainment. They have 7 roommates probably because they want that entertainment. But it was interesting to have them work through that with our math teachers. Mrs. Skiba is in that picture right there, as well as the TCU staff. Celebrations. This is huge for our academic portion of this presentation. The current freshmen had 76.8% of our 8th graders were proficient in reading and writing in the PSAT. That is the highest score we've had since COVID, actually even pre-COVID. It's amazing. We are, as you can see from these 2 graphs here, ELA is at the top, math is at the bottom. We are higher than the ISD, the West Michigan region, and the state of Michigan as well. And we're also...
We represent the green line, too.
Yeah. And we're also, thank you.
Yeah.
We are also higher in math within the ISD and the state as well. However, we are a little lower in the math area, but we are working on that. When we brought in Tisha, our person from Solution Tree, our consultant, to work with us, she specifically worked with our math department the last time she was here. We have some great goals in mind. They're amazing, and again, continuing to work together to increase those scores for our kids.
Shifting to our learning environment and culture. A big part of our building is our environment and our culture within our staff and within our students, and making sure that everybody's feeling safe and welcomed and good just to be in our building. One big part of that is We also have our student mental health survey, which we utilize for a way for them to communicate any needs within our building. We have our student mental health team, which just a couple weeks ago, they took part in our virtual mental health summit, which is a statewide summit. Students from all over were part of that. So we have a core team of about 8 students that spent the day in 1616 with our counselors and took part in those breakout sessions and keynote speakers, and then are coming back together with their learning from that day, and then figuring out how they can spread it to our own students. We have small groups that our counselors run: grief group, anxiety group, separated family group. We have lunch bunch that we also do within our lunches every month, and the students love it. And it's just any way that we can reach the whole variety of students that we have every single day. The pictures there, that is from Kindness Week, or days, I should say, last year. Different activities at lunch. We are changing that up a little bit this year. We're actually going to do that in November. In November, there's an anti-bullying week, and in the middle of the week, on Wednesday, the 13th of November, is National Kindness Day, and so we are, doing our whole focus in November, and then utilizing February for that Random Acts of Kindness Day. Again, our social contract, there's some pictures of what it looked like. You can see every single student's signature on those contracts from 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. Some key things that, were on every single one was utilizing the golden rule. And again, these come right from our students, being kind, being honest, and respecting the belongings of others. The words and the statements that they came up with are pretty cool to see. All right, and this is, sorry here, that's yours, right? Yep, sorry, sneak ahead. There we go.
So building-wide initiatives, this was our March's Reading Month. We did Pop Open a Good Book, and we had a local popcorn vendor actually donate tons of popcorn to the class that had the most amount of reading within their power classes last year. So it was pretty cool. We also had parent volunteers who came in and popped a bag of popcorn for every single person in the building. It took a really long time. I didn't realize that. But as you can see, everyone stopped to read. Mrs. Thorne is reading to her class. The kids really enjoyed that part also. Mrs. Eveleth, one of our counselors, would pop into a class and read with them, again, modeling what we want our students to do. Looking at the survey that Lindsay discussed earlier, 6th graders, these are just some percentages that came from that. 86% of them reported having a trusted adult in the building. That is up. I believe it was 82 last year to 86. 86% of all of our students said that they have a trusted adult in the building. Obviously, our goal is to always be as close to 100% as possible, but we are still working on that. Out of all the students, it was about 36 students reported bullying to be a specific problem. That's out of the 700 within our building. But again, it has decreased from what we had last year. And like Lindsay said, we are working on the anti-bullying week. Again, these are just some more pictures of our students and how we work together. Our science department last year during the eclipse used their budget to buy glasses for every single person in our building so the kids could have that experience on their way home or at home. You can see Chewy's out there looking at the eclipse or a hint of it. Also, again, with college and career readiness, making sure our kids are working together. We offer 6th grade Woods classes now, which has been amazing. We have 6th, 7th, and 8th grade experiences in our wood shop. It's an amazing space, and I know our high school loves it because they can get that experience a little earlier and continue to make amazing things when they get there too.
All right, back to MTSS. Our market is a big hit every single year. We started that again, where our students, instead of the physical tickets that they get in elementary, they are now all digital, which they all think is cool. And so then they can use all of those points that they earn at our market. Our market is about every other week at their lunches. They had a little bit of a lesson in inflation this year. Our prices did go up. We're raising every option we get, those teachable moments. But there's some pictures of some of our markets from this And that's how the teachers have been, dishing those points out to the students. And so we have 94% of our staff have already given out points this year. We are well over 50,000 points that have been given out to our students, encouraging that positive behavior, feedback every day. 100% of our students, so every single one of our students have received points already this year, so they're able to utilize those at the market. And Friday lessons, in our TRO zone, even though we utilize that time for, everything that we just talked about, but we also incorporate on Fridays our lesson from our MTSS team. So that focuses every month towards a different letter of our STRONG acronym. And then, of course, we have our daily morning announcements. Those kids can recite everything because it is said every single morning what STRONG stands for. And again, our TKMS markets twice a month.
Communication and community engagement. As you can see of some of these pictures, we have parent volunteers, staff volunteers. These are activity nights if you'd like to attend. The next one is in November. It's the largest amount of Mountain Dew and pizza you will ever see, an hour and a half. The kids have an amazing time. MTSS group is sponsoring our next one with a 3-on-3 tournament. The kids absolutely love it. These are pictures of the ways that we communicate with our stakeholders, including the parent newsletter. You can also see that it has 1,349 views on that. We can see that with the program that we use, so it's amazing. That was actually the first one of this school year, so that one's always there. Because it's filled with all information for the school year. Our parent club meets every other month. We also have our Facebook page for the middle school specifically. Finance, as you can see, one of our students is holding her Outsiders book. We, again, purchase a ton of books for our kids, whether it be for classrooms to use, so students don't have to share them and they can take them home and read them, or whatever the case may be. But we also have, again, department funds, fundraisers, and grants that we're working on. Continued science supplies, reading month celebrations. We take our kids to Schuler Books still, which they absolutely love that, and we give them, again, because of inflation, $15 to buy a book from Schuler. They are amazing with budgeting that part and going to the clearance section there. But we're also working towards grants for our garden club to have a greenhouse. Our garden club has expanded tremendously over the last few years. They even sold bouquets of flowers at registration, and it was just amazing. And so we're hoping to continue that in the winter months as long as we can get a greenhouse. Operations, as you can see here, we have an amazing food services department. I don't need to tell you that, but here's pictures to show you what they've done for us. This was just a picture of a grazing table that they made for our PD, for the middle school staff. It was beautiful and amazing. But in terms of operations, other aspects that we have upgraded within our building include the ballards for safety and security down below in front of our buildings. We also had the front entrances and the cafeteria painted black, not green for Wayland. So we're working on spreading that throughout the building in future years. The floor in the cafeteria was refinished this summer. As you can see, I did put a picture of our cafeteria tables. It looks terrible, but we're getting new ones. And they are going to be beautiful, which is why we don't have them right now, because we like to do bigger and better at the middle school, and they have a Trojan in the middle of them. So they'll be here soon. We also have a skateboard and scooter rack. Our kids love it because they're not putting them all in our offices now. But especially because, the changes in transportation, a lot of our kids are riding their scooters and everything, and we want to make sure that they're safe and locked up. Also, at the end of each wing and in the cafeteria, we have TVs at the end of every wing so we can show announcements and kids can see those in between classes. They always know what's going on. They know when new clubs are starting or things like that. Field trips at the end of the year. We also have them in the cafeteria. We play Wheel of Fortune during lunch. The kids are really engaged in that. Surprisingly, they are all really into it. But it does give them something to do if they don't want to go outside or go into the gym or something like that, or the library. What's next? Just to highlight a few things, continued use of the TROZone class and helping with interventions. We would like to have summer school next school year. That worked very well for us over the last few years. Continuing with our PLC processes, it's been amazing what we've done since we've started to implement this, even with our common assessment training last January and February. We have had such tremendous growth, and our staff is completely on the same page. Throughout every department, we know what we need to do, and we know what goals we need to meet. We will continue to survey our stakeholders and finding out what they're looking for. That does include, it says parents and students, but it also includes our staff too, and finding out what they would like and what they need. Finance, again, moving forward into looking at a pilot for science and for ELA. As you may recall, we did put science on the back burner a little bit, but we also have 3 new members of the science department. So half of the science department is new, and we wanted them to be able to contribute to that selection. Again, new cafeteria seating and ongoing training for safety protocols. As you can see on here, whether our students are climbing walls, these are field trips, but it happens sometimes at the middle school. Kids are climbing walls or, bouncing off the walls. We want to meet kids where they are and making sure that we are able to help them grow academically, socially, emotionally, and behaviorally.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Board, do you have any questions or comments?
If I could make a comment for a dad that just had a new middle schooler get integrated into a new system of lockers and where to be and what time, your team did amazing. She was kind of, at wit's end the first day, trying to get her locker combination, but you guys really supported her well. So I just want to say thank you to you. Yep.
I'm intrigued by the PBIS tickets because there's a lot to be said for that physical ticket going to them. But they're keeping it all digital, and then that also helps because now they don't lose them, they don't get compromised or counterfeited. So, I mean, it's a thing. Students will counterfeit. So I'm really impressed with that transition, and it sounds like it's going well.
It's amazing. Our teachers find it super easy because they can put in a whole class and get them all acquainted for being on task, for example, being responsible for turning in their homework. It's super easy for us because we have the whole building.
Yeah.
We can look them up and give them points in the hallway.
Yeah. And just as a teacher, I appreciate that you had school supplies, you had fun things, and then you had the candy that they want, but you had a variety of things that are, right.
And they really put some thought into whether they're gonna spend those points or wait another 2 weeks. I mean,
Yep.
sometimes it's a lot of thinking, right?
Yeah, but I think it gives that whole program more teeth, so thank you. And thank you for everything. I just always feel like you're well-rounded in everything you look at. Like you say, you like to do one thing just a step better. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Any other comments? All right, thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
Mr. Smith, give me just a second. Oh, ouch.
Okay.
I think we're back. Thank you, Lindsay.
That takes us to committee and liaison reporting.
All right, so when you're back to me after you guys are making fun of me.
Yep, you got your paper copy?
We would never make fun of you.
That's all right. I was always told if I can't take it, don't dish it out, so. All right. The Personnel Subcommittee met regarding the replacement of Chris LaHaye and then my retirement announcement, which actually is going to lead us into the next item, which is a discussion regarding interim superintendent.
So I spoke with Superintendent Ron Gorman of the Ken ISD. He has a list of candidates, but we also had another one populate last week. So several of you said you'd like to meet with Mr. Enslin. If that's something you want to pursue, I can set that up in 2 smaller meetings. Otherwise we can go ahead with Mr. Gorman gave me a list as like 6 people. But we can start looking at those or paring it down. But those were people he has not even contacted yet. It's just the superintendent network is something. Like when you watch a sports show and they talk about the coaching trees and coaching networks, it's just names of people he knows that have retired or helped out districts in the past. So, so that's something to think about. On the other one, it's just a bigger discussion. We have MASB, Michigan Association of School Boards, for the superintendent search. And roughly their price was $8,200 to help us with a full superintendent search. And MLI, Michigan Leadership Institute, was $7,200. And again, I put in my email to you, $1,000 is not something that I am frivolous with, but in the grand scheme of things, that's not a deciding factor. Both companies do a great job. This is what both companies do. They help schools out. And with that, I'm open to the conversation. Both representatives were very excited, and aggressive is not the right word, but they're both very interested in getting started right away. They're both high energy people, and they want to meet the board and talk with the board, meet people in the district, talk to people in the district, because from those interviews and those conversations, they start generating how they want to present this out. So,
I'd just throw out that we've used both, and we've been successful with both. I think it's worth meeting with both and getting comfortable with the consultants, and I think it's as much, if not more, about who the consultants are than it is which of the services.
Sure. I think that's a good idea, because I read through them again a couple hours ago, and it's like, it's very similar, Their processes, their timelines, they're all very close, and so, yeah, I think you're more spot on with the personality of the person.
Can I ask a question of the seasoned board members that have done this before? Seasoned. I have, reading through MLI, they offer a, I'm going to say it wrong, superintendent school? Is that like a?
Michigan Leadership
Thank you.
Institute is the name of it.
Okay.
And it's a superintendent academy.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like they have in-depth knowledge about those individuals that would be ready for a superintendent role then? Is that how I would assume that a little bit? So they might have like an edge on MASB because MASB would send candidates there, or candidates would come from there. MLI supplies that education, I guess,
Yes,
not MASB.
yes,
Okay.
correct.
I just want to I didn't see that in MASB, so I wanted to verify that. Okay.
And I think we'll find pros and cons with both groups
sure.
too. But MLI has been very professional with us, and we've worked with them before.
I love the idea of talking with both of them.
Yeah, okay. Any thoughts on this side?
I agree.
Okay, sure, absolutely. All right, well, I know Jay from MASB talked about like a half hour, so I imagine it'd be better off in like a whole separate meeting with those two. Is that something everybody be okay with? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll connect with Craig and Erica and get that set up. Okay. With the interim, do you want me to coordinate something with Mr. Enslin to talk?
You've talked with him already?
I talked to him, so just again to be clear, this is not something he was asking for, but it's something that he said, hey, I love TK, I love Middleville, I want to help out in this situation. And I thought it was very genuine of him. I don't know him, I know Dave knows him, and I've only heard good things about him. He was superintendent before Mr. Blichok, so he's still probably knows a good majority of the staff, and I believe he knows all the admin team.
Yes, he does.
So, it'd be a smooth transition,
I think if he's willing, it's definitely worth.
Well, he's willing to have the conversation.
To have the
Yep,
conversation, yes.
and to just kind of feel things out,
It's
so.
definitely worth us having the
I would agree.
conversation with him,
Okay.
I would feel.
I would agree.
He has successfully led our district in the past, and I think it's worth, my opinion,
Okay.
it would be worth talking to him.
Okay.
And as we've talked about before too, having somebody familiar with the district, there's a big advantage there too.
I agree, that's very big, yeah. Okay. All right, I'll work to get that set up then with Erica and Craig also. Okay. Any other comments about interim or regular
No.
traditional
Thank you
superintendent?
for doing all that legwork. Matt?
Yeah, you know.
It's a lot of late work
it's-
right now.
It's one of those things, it's not super hard, but it takes time, so. Okay, so timeline-wise, we're in the middle of October, so we have about 10 weeks. We're still a decent cushion. The holidays will play a factor and kind of, so I'd like to get things, you know, kind of by next board meeting will be solidified, but we can work through that. Okay, all right. Do you have any other comments, Mr. McCarthy?
My just is, when you're talking about timeline and future meetings and that type of thing, with the changes in the evaluation rules, I have November 4th actually scheduled as a date for my evaluation, but due to the changes the state has made, my current evaluation could be rolled into this year because I've had a year of effective and then 2 years of highly effective. And so therefore, because of that, you could roll an effective evaluation to this year. You would not have to have a separate meeting for that. And that meeting could be utilized. It's going to have to be rescheduled because it's, but you could reschedule that for a later date because you're going to be having meetings.
Yep.
That, just something to think about.
Right, right, that meeting's on the books, but we can change the date to meet
Yes.
with the MLI, MASB.
Correct,
Okay.
yes.
Yep, thank you. All right. Okay, is everybody satisfied with that? Okay, good. We can move on. All right. We have one board action for items, high school HVAC control upgrades.
Right. So you have the write-up in your packet. One of the things that we were not able to get to with our original budget at the high school was the environmental controls. We didn't feel that we had that in the budget, but as projects started to close and we started to bring contingency funding back, we found that we did have enough money to do the environmental controls at the high school. Almost every other building, well, actually every other building with except one half of the high school is controlled with the same environmental control system. All we're trying to do is get this second half of the high school on the same environmental control system. So we went out for an RFP and came back, the results, we only had Grand Valley Automation bid us the environmental controls, and that's because that's the company we're currently working with. They came back with a bid of $424,736. As you saw in the write-up, bringing all the contingency funds back into the district after we wrapped up the other construction projects, we have roughly $441,475 remaining in our bond funds, which would allow us to do this project, create efficiencies throughout the district as far as our environmental controls go.
Any thoughts or looking for a motion to proceed?
I can make the motion. I make the motion that the Board of Education approve Grand Valley Automation to furnish and install the remaining building automation system as presented for a cost not to exceed $424,736.
Second.
Okay, got a motion by Huzen and support by Winger. Is there any discussion? I'll just say thank you. This is one of those make sense things.
Right.
Streamlining.
Yeah, yep.
All right, so that is a roll call vote, please, Brenda.
Dickman,
Yes.
Huson,
Yes.
Powers,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Brock. Hess, yes, and Winger.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you, board. Okay, and that takes us down to superintendent's report.
Sure. So earlier today, I mentioned that this building had to be closed early. We did have a water leak. One of our copper pipes, the fitting at the connecting point actually sprung a leak. That has been corrected. So and it is essentially warranty work. There's no cost to the district, but that's been fixed and the building will operate as normal tomorrow. Not related, we actually had Firestone roofing on our roof today because we've had a couple of issues with the roofing system. They are going to be coming out and redoing all of the seams in the roof, the entire roof, and then restarting our warranty. So we're going to get another couple years on that. So which is great to see. They're standing behind their product. We're entering conference season. I believe middle school was last week. This next week, we have the elementaries and the high school. So conferences are coming up here. If you haven't been looking at our Facebook, one of the posts out there is about crosswalk safety. We're working with the village to try and get the flashing crosswalk signs down at McFall. We've done a lot of work around McFall to try and get the traffic to flow smoothly, but we still have an issue there getting students safely crossed from north to south and south to north on Main there. So working with the village to get those crosswalk flashing signs. And then I'm here for another 10 weeks, 2.5 months. So I'll just continue to do the work that I'm doing and trying to continue us on the path that we are. So that's
we
it.
appreciate that. All right. That takes us to board comments. Any comments from the board? All right, everybody's quiet tonight. It's Monday. And with that, we'll adjourn the meeting at 7:57. All right, meeting adjourned.
Now that you're counting.